What's up guys, and welcome to Xbox On, and as you may have heard, Game Pass has hit your consoles with over 100 games for you to play.
So we've had a look through all of them to find some hidden gems you need to try. Let's take a look.
Imagine Battlefield 1 played out on a coffee table and you get some idea of what to expect from toy soldiers. It's the First World War from the perspective of a child's playset. Look beyond the muddy battlefield and you'll see the boxes the troops are normally stored in and pieces of furniture looming over the action. It's also nice and blood-free for the younger gamer who's been looking at Battlefield 1 from afar with puppy dog eyes. The game itself is an awesome riff on tower defense. You see, while you float above the battle deciding where to place gun emplacements to fight off approaching enemy forces, you also have the power to jump into units on the battlefield to take direct control. You can control machine gun nests and chew up ground troops, or hop into a heavy weapon and rain down shells that you can steer in midair. I particularly like taking control of the sniper tower and picking off soldiers as they first enter the battlefield. Later in the campaign, you'll start unlocking tanks and planes which let you drive the fight right up to the enemy's front door. Where tower defense games can sometimes feel detached and dry, this one puts you in the heart of the battle. I love that even if you don't have a great kind for tactics, you can jump into the action and use your trigger finger to even the odds. It's just a great mix of styles. It's also incredibly padded out for an Xbox Live Arcade game. There are 2 story campaigns to beat that show you the fight from both armies' perspectives. There's a survival mode and multiplayer too. Xbox Game Pass has plenty of flesh and blood war in it, but make sure to make some time to play with these toys too. Our next game looks like something out of the 1980s, but actually came out last year. It's an isometric dungeon crawler, not unlike Night Law or Gunfight that you may have played in Rare Replay. That means the world is divided into hundreds of self-contained rooms, each one containing some kind of mini puzzle or platforming challenge. The fun thing here is seeing what strange things happen when you step through a door. You might find your character dodging giant lumps of spider spit, or using a magic rod to expose invisible platforms, or trying to get a creepy box to follow you around, or trying to navigate platforms made of ice. None of these smaller tasks are horribly difficult, but having to constantly adapt to new problems or learn new tricks to overcome them is really satisfying. It's a game that has more ideas in 5 minutes than some have in 10 hours. Most importantly, Lumo has really tough achievements that you can wear as a badge of honor. Many of the individual rooms have gamer score for doing them without losing lives or finishing them in a short time, but none of this can compete with the Rubber Duck Challenge. Now that may not sound very menacing, but it's brutally hard. You have to find 32 rubber ducks hidden around the game and collect them all without dying. Considering that most of the rubber ducks float on water that instantly kills you, this will take superhuman skills. If you manage to unlock it, make sure to let us know in the comments below. Everyone else should just enjoy Lumo for what it is, one of the weirder action games on Xbox One.
Stacking is one of those rare games that is completely unique, clever, and also ridiculously good fun. The game is based on those cool Russian stacking dolls. You'll be controlling the smallest doll, Charlie Blackmore, who is on a quest to find his siblings who have been forced into child labor by the evil Baron. The twist is that Charlie can stack into dolls that are bigger than him, allowing the player to take control of new dolls. You can keep going until you reach the biggest size, all the while discovering new characters, each with their own abilities. So why with all the stacking? Well, you've got to use other dolls to solve puzzles and conundrums that are scattered around the levels. Each dolls have different abilities they can do, some which will help you solve a particular stumbling block. Even better, most puzzles can be solved in a variety of different ways. For example, we need to get into this room that the guard is blocking. We can either stack into this beautiful lady and use a hip-shaking ability to lure the guard away, or stack into this maintenance man to use his ability to remove the gate and sneak our way in. Along the way, there are plenty of smaller quests to get stuck into too. There's also a huge checklist of mini actions to complete, such as slapping other dolls with this character and his white glove, or farting on other dolls with this character. Yeah, I didn't say it was particularly mature. If you're looking to play something which is completely unique with plenty of content and humor along the way, then make sure to check out Stacking.
The designers at Hello Games are best known for No Man's Sky, but before they built an entire virtual universe, they made a game about a man who fell off a motorbike a lot. Joe Danger is that man, and you have to guide him along deadly stunt tracks. In the beginning, you'll just be happy to survive as you learn how to handle ramps, dodge obstacles, and work your way around some incredibly bendy tracks. The basic idea may sound a lot like Trials HD, but Joe Danger often has more in common with a 2D platformer. Braking and accelerating gives you such precise control over your moves in the air that it allows for some very fiddly level design that wouldn't be able to place it in a Mario game. But what makes this extra tricky is that you want to be doing everything fast and trying to squeeze in extra stunts while you're in the air in order to pump your end of level score. Where the game really comes to life is in the extra objectives given in each level. You might be trying to collect stars dotted around the track, or trying to maintain a trick combo for the entirety of a race. Performing all these side tasks in one single race is the ticket to the leaderboard big leagues. As the game first came out on 360 back in 2011, the leaderboards are already packed with stupidly high scores, but it's nice to have a goal to work towards. Joe Danger is one of those games where you just won't be able to quit until you've squeezed an extra few points out of your last run. Just don't forget about the other 109 games in Game Pass.
Electronic Superjoy is a game that gave me and Benny a very hard time during World's Hardest Achievements, and for that accomplishment alone, it deserves a play. So when you describe Electronic Superjoy and its premise, it's a little ridiculous. Basically, you play a character who is seeking revenge for his stolen butt. Yep, his stolen butt. You still with me? Basically, it's a hard-as-nails platformer where your quest for butts will involve a lot of dying. In Super Meat Boy fashion, the levels are crazy hard, and one missed time of a jump or flick of the stick at the wrong angle will result in death after death after death. The pixelated blocky world is an explosion of bright lights and colours, interlaced with heavy shadow contrasts which will mess with your mind. All the while, there is an intense EDM soundtrack which will worm its way into your ears with its bassy determination. Mostly, it's just a case of running and jumping, but along the way you'll also pick up certain abilities such as flying or double jumping. You also have this strangely satisfying ability to smash enemies with one swift squish, which at least provides one way of getting out all that rage which builds up whilst playing. If you're really looking for a challenge, then make sure to try out the infinite loop levels. Each level is short and quick, and before you know it, they'll get faster and harder. They're thrown at you in a random order, and whilst they may look simple enough, they really are a nightmare. My best score to date is 14, and that's after many goes. Make sure to download Electronic Superjoy to try for yourself and put me to shame.
If you want a game that purely exists to make your thumbs feel great, then Strider is for you. The arcade ninja is reborn in this slick revival as one of the most responsive gaming heroes out there. The way you slip from sprint to slide to leap to attack feels like liquid death. This is a game designed to be taken at speed, with entire stretches of level defeated in one slick combo. Get in the groove, and there are few games that move so stylishly. Of course, getting into a groove can take a while. For one, Strider is missing many powers at the start. Only by exploring and taking down bosses can you begin to power up and explore new areas of the map. But once that arsenal grows, you have real freedom to make a fighting style for yourself, whether that's reflecting bullets and throwing knives, or calling on a giant eagle made of lasers to save your skin. Come on, a giant laser eagle. What's not to love about that? If you can find another game in Game Pass with a cooler bird creature than that, I'll be amazed. And no, Chronicles of Mystara's Owlbear doesn't count. It's not an easy game. The checkpoints can be far apart, your health vanishes in a blink of an eye, and enemies do not mess around. But it's worth pushing on to discover that next power or the next mad boss fight. Who wouldn't want to dodge machine gun fire and missiles on the back of a giant robot dragon? Strider is a hardcore delight.
Shantae and the Pirate's Curse is a fun platformer with great style, plenty of wit, and a lovable cast of characters. It's the third game of the series and continues the story of Shantae, the half-genie who uses her luscious purple locks to take out enemies. Unfortunately for Shantae, she lost her genie powers in the previous game and must now make use of the pirate goods that she finds lying around. In typical pirate fashion, you'll be playing with a pistol, a big old pirate hat which comes with a handy gliding ability, boots that let you dash, and swords that will put your enemy in their place. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be any pirate parrot called Polly that hitches along for a ride, but I guess you can't have everything. So why does Shantae have to take up a pirate's life? Well, her town has been brought out by Ammo Baron, and he doesn't plan on fixing up the place and doing what's best for his citizens. Cue Shantae's start of her adventure as she searches for lost pirate items, retrieves dark magic, and takes down some bad guys along the way. Shantae and the Pirate's Curse is a proper throwback game and transports you back to bright, pixelated scrolling platformers with simple designs and eye-catching characters. The story is told in manga-style art, which more often than not will have you chuckling along with its tongue-in-cheek humour. If you're looking for a bit more of a challenge, then after clearing the game, be sure to check out Pirate Mode. This will unlock all of Shantae's pirate items from the beginning and allows you to perform speedruns. What's the quickest you can complete it? One of the fastest times ever is 41 minutes and 22 seconds. Do you have what it takes to beat that? Only one way to find out.
Capcom's side-scrolling brawler feels like the great-granddad of Castle Crashers. It's another game about walking left to right and mashing buttons to thump evil goblins. Okay, so Mystara's Dungeons and Dragons setting means it doesn't have the same dirty sense of humour as Castle Crashers, but what it lacks in exploding deer poop, it more than makes up for in other areas. For starters, where so many arcade brawlers suffer from big replayability issues, Capcom solved the problem with a cast of heroes that play differently and the branching path through the story. Okay, so all the heroes boil down to murdering everything in sight, but playing with the warrior's sword and shield combo gives battles a very different pace to unleashing a mage's elemental magics. Spells also let the game show off some amazing sprite effects that still look pretty slick 20 years later. In a nod to the game's Dungeons and Dragons roots, you also have some say over the path you take. Some scenes require you to pick between two very different levels to reach the same destination, and at other times characters will offer you side stories that will take you to bonus stages and challenges. It may take less than an hour to play through the 2 games included in this bundle, but you'll get hours of fun from exploring every single corner of the world. Come on, sometimes you just don't want a 100-hour RPG full of difficult moral decisions and a full-blown romance simulator. Mystara doesn't have any of that, but it does let you thump a creature that is half owl and half bear. If the promise of killing an owl bear isn't enough to tempt you, there's really no reasoning with you.
Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons is one of those heartwarming games that grabs you by the heartstrings and gives a good tug. The game begins with the sad tale of a mother who dies at sea and leaves behind 2 sons, the older, stronger Naya and the younger, more silly Nei. Unfortunately, their father falls ill and the boys must venture to the Tree of Life to collect water to save him. What follows is a story of brotherly love, cooperation, and saving others no matter what the struggle. The gameplay in Brothers is pretty interesting. You control both brothers at the same time using the analog sticks. Each is assigned to a brother, along with each trigger controlling their action move, such as climbing or talking to others. This style of gameplay creates a very simple yet complicated style of movement. Yes, you only need to do 2 things for each brother, but controlling them at the same time can be tricky at times and can take a little while to get used to. Each brother has their own unique characteristics too, such as Naya being stronger and better at lifting and pushing, whilst Nei is smaller so he can fit through gaps and gain access to unreachable places. You'll also need to help each brother progress, such as using one to get the attention of this angry dog whilst the other makes his escape. It's also nice to see how the brothers interact differently depending on the situation. Little Nei loves this cute kitty. This cute kitty wants to scratch Naya's face off. If you like a game that packs an emotional punch, then definitely check out Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. And make sure to have some tissues ready. You have been warned.
So there we have it, just some of the hidden gems within Game Pass, and I'm sure there's going to be loads more in the future. Let us know what your favourites are in the comments below, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos.
And don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed this video, and check out last week's list show whilst you're at it. We'll see you next time.
Bye!